Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Ready Up podcast. I am your host, Brian Roberts, and I am joined today by the lovely Kieran Foley. Oh, no, that's not.
Hey, Brian.
Hello,
Hey.
how are you? And
Pretty good,
the
pretty
wonderful Michael Howland.
Video games.
I agree. Now, you may be wondering why we're here.
That is
Michael just said
exactly
it.
where we should end
Yeah,
the episode.
we are here. So this is a little podcast that we've decided to put together because, let's face it, this is our third lockdown here in Ireland and we are bored. So we talk about games a lot. We love all kinds of games. So we decided, hey, look, why not just hit record on these conversations? So that's what this is going to be. We are just going to sit down every week and just talk about a specific topic from video games. Not always video games. We might talk about a movie or TV show or documentary. Who knows what we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, we are going to just talk a little bit about what we're playing right now after Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or what we're watching. Maybe there's something interesting going on. Let's just get to know. So Kieran, please, what have you been playing?
Kick off, okay. I've literally just finished Medium, or as the Irish call it, Medium.
Medium.
Yeah, by Bloober Games, the guys who made Layers of Fear and Blair Witch as well.
Which I've heard good things about.
Yeah, and look, it's absolutely fantastic. It's the very first next gen game, the only game so
on
far
Xbox.
even on PlayStation, the only game that can only be played on a next gen console so far.
Demon's Souls.
So
got you
oh
there.
yeah, oh he got me.
Off to a great start already.
Forgot.
Destroying my
Yeah.
co-host's opinion.
Gotta research that shit.
Yes,
Let me say it's
we
the
are
first-
a professional
yeah.
podcast.
We are totally professional, but let me say it's probably the first that utilizes the next gen properly, but because it simultaneously runs two worlds at one time. It's anyone who likes Resident Evil, old school Silent Hill, it's kind of those games right up their alley.
I remember seeing the trailer for it when they announced it, and it was showing the split worlds. And in my head, I was immediately like, "Oh, this is just here just to show off what the Xbox can do. Let's render two amazing worlds together." Yeah. And Michael, what have you been playing?
I'm playing Hitman 3, which is just more of that Hitman from Hitman 1 and 2.
Yeah, you stole my answer. That was going to be mine.
It's
Oh,
really, really, really good.
It is. I'm about halfway through it right now.
I'm on third mission so far in Chungking.
Okay, I'm just about to start that one myself. Yeah, the Berlin going to a nightclub in an old abandoned nuclear reactor.
It just feels like you're playing movies, man.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're playing movies.
Yeah, I had that techno music going on, and I felt like I was in John Wick. It was so good. It was amazing.
Did you play the first two?
I've never played any of the Hitman games.
Okay, go get this and get like the special edition that gives you the first two, and then you have 20 missions to play through all in the one game.
And,
Okay.
and the best thing
Because
about
all the missions from the previous ones come into the new one.
and the best thing about it is that like every mission in Hitman, you can finish it a certain way, but then you can immediately go back and do it a completely different way.
And the second mission, murder mystery, and I'm just glad that these guys are the guys doing the Bond game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what that's going to be like.
It's going to be
Is
good.
that the one that was just announced?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Hitman boys are doing it.
Cool.
Hitman guys doing
That's who makes it? Was it Hitman?
IO Interactive.
It's kind of funny because like the feel I got from just literally watching girlfriend reviews is that it's kind of like Yakuza or like Sleeping Dogs, where it's just bonkers a little.
Oh, it's bad shit.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
The Hitman games there's a logic to the worlds that exist in the Hitman games and the Hitman games alone. And when you are playing those games, you live by that logic. And it's beautiful.
But yeah, and really short. Anyone watching anything cool before we get into our main topic?
I'm watching the Clone Wars.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You starting it off?
First time through, yeah. I'm about
It's-
probably 6 or 7 episodes in. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I imagine I'll steal Kieran's answer here. I'm watching WandaVision.
Ah, no.
What? No idea.
Yes. You've stolen my answer.
Yeah, which is just kind of like Hitman. Bonkers. I love it. Every episode is a different sitcom error, like 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
There's so much mystery going on in it that it's keeping me coming back. I want to keep coming back and find out just what the fuck is going on.
WandaVision is a more grounded outing. And it's kind of weird because I suppose Agents and S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of Marvel's only other TV shows that you can kind of compare it to. And even then, it's just like a complete other... Yeah. It's like watching a movie, but a low...
I haven't even seen a trailer. Movie. What is it?
What? WandaVision?
Nope. Blind.
That's a good thing. Go into it completely blind. That's what I would suggest.
Do.
It's you know Wanda and Vision from the Marvel movies?
Yes.
Yeah. It follows the two of them. And that's all I want to say. Anyone who's listening who has not seen WandaVision, don't watch any trailers. Just go into it. See what happens.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job of making people want to come back for more. Like, there's a lot of people saying it's a slow build, but I think it's just a smart build.
I'm the same way. I'm not finding it slow at all.
No.
In fact, the most recent episode ended, and I sat there and was like, that can't be the end. That's not the ending, surely. I need more. I don't want to wait another week for this to wrap up or continue. Yeah, so I don't get why people are saying it's slow. I think they're saying it's slow because we're not getting answers to anything that's going on in it, but there's 9 episodes, and this is only episode 4. I mean, you wouldn't expect things to get answered yet. I suppose that actually leads more into a more general thing is that like we are not used to waiting a week for an episode anymore. It's normally the Netflix model where it's all there for you and just binge it all in one day. So yeah, maybe some people are kind of forgot. That's what we used to have to do, kiddos and kids listening. That's what we used to have to do. We had to wait for a week after an episode, every episode, and it used to kill me.
And it's better. It builds suspense and. You haven't binged a TV show in one day and forgotten about it the next week. Yeah. You're continuously talking about, and there's loads of people chiming in on Reddit continuously talking about WandaVision.
Yeah, people are silly. You're silly people.
Well,
yeah, so let's move on now to our big topic. Our big topic of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yeah. So we've all played it. We've all finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna.
And the reason. One of the main reasons why we got Michael on the show for our first episode for Valhalla is because he now has his own YouTube channel.
Oh shit, I do, don't I?
What?
Yeah, you do.
I'm learning this live right now.
Yeah, so you're learning live. So you do your research, Brian. Do your research.
I just started doing a little video thing. I only have one video up on it so far. My game of the year. It's called Bulletsponge. You can find it if you Google Bulletsponge Game of the Year, but like it's very low.
We will leave a link into it anyway. It doesn't matter. We'll leave a link into it in this description.
I'll probably have another video up in the next 2 weeks or so.
Any inkling to what it's going to be about?
Yeah, Hitman. I'm probably going to do it on Hitman.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Are you going to do your absolutely fantastic Photoshop as your title page for the video?
Photoshop? You mean my logo? Oh, yeah.
So not only did you forget you had a YouTube channel, then you also forgot the promo image you stuck for Hitman 3.
I have a kid, man.
The man gets.
I don't remember these things.
Yeah, the man gets some excuses here. It's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, so Valhalla was one of your games.
Yes,
top games
number 3,
last
I think.
year.
So I finished it probably, I don't know, a few weeks ago now. But it lives on in my mind. It's a really good game. I think it was near enough 80 hours by the time I finished it.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I think the game is absolutely wonderful. I do have some issues with it. I think story-wise towards the end it gets a bit.
Yeah. Well,
stretched.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about first. Let's maybe talk about gameplay or mechanics, because it's interesting. Because Brian, you have it on the PS5.
I do.
Did you play it with the 4K TV on HDR, or did you have your normal?
My usual crappy monitor. No, I actually played that on the 4K HDR.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
I also played it. I played it on the Xbox Series X with 4K HDR. And Mikey, you played it on the Xbox as well.
Yeah, just 4K, no HDR.
Just 4K. And in terms of graphics, like, give me just like your mindset on what you felt the graphics were like.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's even just on 4K, like.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can dispute. I did play it on my 1080p monitor at one point as well. It still looked absolutely gorgeous. I don't think anybody. I think there's something that you can say about the game is that it's beautiful. I don't think anyone can say anything too wrong about that.
It's got the usual dodgy Ubisoft character models sometimes, but
yeah. There's a few glitches here and there, but yeah.
You get that on Watch Dogs 3 as well, but
yeah.
You know, it just happens.
My answer to that is, what game doesn't have glitches and all like that? I mean, come on.
Like probably like one of I've experienced very little glitches. I know I've seen loads of videos on Reddit of a lot of glitches that people are experiencing launching Eivor into the sky, etc., etc. I only experienced 2 glitches. One was the Christmas update when you were continuously drunk, which is absolutely fine. It was great crack.
What?
Yeah, so when do you know the Yule update for Christmas? Mm-hmm. The Yule festival.
Okay, I must have finished it before Christmas. I don't know, maybe.
No, you finished it. I think it was the 28th or the 12th. You finished. So if you
all right, okay.
I know. I did my research. No, I was comparing trophies the other day to you.
Okay.
Just to see what ones you had. But during Christmas they had the Yule festival. Mm-hmm. Where if you went back to Raventhorpe, you could essentially go back around the place and do little side missions and collect Yule tokens, and you'd have a drinking contest, a fighting contest, and an archery contest. Great,
like the parties that you get in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like that. It was really good fun, and you could put your tokens towards ornaments for around the camp or armor sets and weapons. Okay. But one of the glitches that brought in was every time you loaded up or you would die and have to reload, you'd be drunk. And it was so funny. Except like if you're in the middle of a battle or something like that, but it was so funny. I didn't mind that. But one of the things that really, I was just small, but it really annoyed me, every time I tried to go to the Longhouse in Jorvik, I would trip up over nothing. It would just bother me.
I had I ran into 2 major glitches. I ran into a glitch every time I called my horse. You'd hold it right on the D-pad and you call your horse and you'd mount the horse. I couldn't steer the horse. It would just run in a straight line. So I was like, where are you going? And it would just like dive me off cliffs and stuff. Like, oh, thanks for that. So I had to like jump off the horse. And even when I jump off the horse would just keep running in a straight line. So then I'd have to just wait a second, call the horse again. And then when I got on the second time, it was fine. So I don't know what was good. And the other major glitch is that I was trying to fast travel to London. This is late on in the game. I finished the story. And I was just cleaning up things. And I fast traveled, but it spawned me above the map. Like, miles into the air. And it spawned me, and I just fell and fell until I eventually hit the ground. And I say it was about 2 minutes later till I eventually hit the ground. So that was the only annoying thing that happened. And then I did have a few screen tearing issues, like screen tearing from like when you had PC games. There was screen tearing if I moved the camera too fast.
Yeah,
I got packed as far as I know.
Yeah.
I know we were on World, but moved on to glitches there. My one glitch was when I finished it, I went to load a save. It crashed and corrupted the save, and I lost about 10 hours directly at the end. Yeah, so my save file at the moment isn't actually complete.
No,
but I have completed the game.
You have played
it. I did experience where one of my save files was corrupted, and I swear to God, thank Christ for the Series X where it has the quick resume, because it quick resumed where I was, so I didn't. I just literally came back at a menu and carried on. But if that hadn't have worked, or the quick resume, there was a lot of issues with quick resume when the Xbox first came out, and I was one of the people that had that.
I think quicker zoom was what caused my corrupt save.
I think so too, because quicker zoom has a problem where it disconnects you from the internet for the game, so it gets like kicks you from the server, and you end up having to like quit the game and going back in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have anything like that on the PlayStation. Thankfully, no corruption. Thank God, because I think my final save at the moment is 98 hours. So yeah, I don't want to lose.
I think mine's about 90ish.
I'll finish it off again before I start the DLC, but no issue.
Yeah,
like it was only about 10 hours. It's not.
Yeah, but
very
just back to the world and everything. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful. Like I didn't think England looked that nice.
This is like
I learned a lot about the UK through it. I genuinely didn't know that there were so many Roman ruins around the place.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were talking about this, Michael, not long ago? Yeah. And even though like I enjoy history, and I very much so Viking Age would have been one of those things I particularly enjoy. And I don't know why. It's just, do you know when you watch a film, even Vikings, for example, the History's channel's Vikings, when they go to the likes of Wessex, it's literally just the town and the castle, and that's it. You never see any ruins. So I don't, maybe it's just media has forced us to kind of think that Viking era only had Viking like settlements.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't put like 2 and 2 together and get like Roman settlements.
Bath is called Bath because of the Roman baths. I genuinely don't know why I didn't piece this crap together.
Yeah. It's an odd one.
I'm the same. I learned because I will absolutely admit I didn't know enough or know a lot about Viking culture, and it's only after playing this now I'm like, wow, they were actually very, for lack of a better term, civilized. You know, they had their kings and their thanes, and you know, my mind, you just, you know, what you read and hear as a kid is like, oh, all they did was rape and pillage. That's all they did. But no, they were actually quite civilized, and they had you know, structure to their society, which, you know, that's amazing. I did not know that. So the game
there would have been.
It's said that they were way cleaner than the regular like folk in the UK, and the men of the UK gave out because the women preferred the Vikings because they smelled so nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, because even after playing the game, or while I was playing that, I was googling things as well and reading up online about it. I was like, wow, yeah, I had no idea about this kind of stuff.
It's really good. This is one of the plus sides of the Assassin's Creed games in general.
Yeah, like
it's their.
I know,
like. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
Yeah. It's one of those things of like, it's a game. It's not supposed to be historically accurate, but Assassin's Creed has achieved those, giving just enough historical accuracy where you can learn things here and there, but also start bringing in their own kind of sci-fi elements and kind of fantasy elements.
The last two brought in, I think it was, I can't remember the actual name. Egypt and Greece, and they brought in a museum mode, a curator mode.
Yeah.
Where you could wander around and learn the actual like research that Ubisoft did, because they have a ton of like real life genuine historians who work with them on these games. So you could walk around Egypt and just learn the facts about, you know, the pyramids or Alexandria, anything like that. So I'm very interested to see if they do that for this one. I hope they do.
But they covered up the penis.
They did.
Terrible.
They put leaves on penises.
How dare they?
Disgraceful.
How dare they? But yeah, we'll move on to we didn't really talk. There's not much really to say about visuals. It's stunning.
The game is stunning. Yeah. Even when you have like ray tracing and stuff, like one of the things that I encouraged myself to do was just literally sail the rivers just so I could see the sun passing through the trees.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I didn't fast travel that.
Did it have ray tracing? It did?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
It did? Oh.
Really, really nicely. I
know Watch Dogs did. I didn't know Assassin's Creed did. That's cool.
That's really good. We'll move on to gameplay. What do you guys think of the gameplay? Because there's been a few changes over the course of the last few Assassin's Creed games now. Like the originals were very much a stealth-based. Now this one, these newer trilogy, you can still call them stealth-based, but feel like they've kind of gone away from the stealth aspect and it's more of fighting now, because that new fighting system is really good. I really like this new fighting system, like dual wielding two-handed battle axes. It's just ridiculous, but God, it was so good. I mean, like, this is ridiculous, but I love it.
I really enjoyed the combat in it. I thought it was really fun. We were saying about the stealth. They've kind of, in the last two, the stealth was way less of an option, but they've kind of brought it a little bit back in.
Yeah.
It kind of sits somewhere between, in my mind, it sits somewhere between like the likes of a Souls game from FromSoft and like something easier, like, I don't know, God, like an old Assassin's Creed, like it's just like something just button mashy.
Do you know what
it sits somewhere between the two of those?
Do you know what kind of pairs well against, because they also did it really well, is the Star Wars game, Fallen Order, where they nicely paired the From Software hard aspect, but also that not so much button bashing, but really enjoyable combat. Like if you like, because that was one of the my favorite things to do in Assassin's Creed was raiding into a town, smashing shields into people and like parrying everything, blocking it, and just beheading people and doing all the stun attacks. It was really enjoyable. Like you feel like you're a brutal Viking, I suppose, when you're raiding. Things. Like combat is fantastic.
Yeah, and some of those finishers are brutal.
God,
so it really like helped sell the brutality as well of the Vikings. Really good.
It was really fun. I did have my niggles with it, where the gear, like constantly having to change and upgrade and all that kind of stuff. I would have liked to have stuck with one weapon more often. I did find myself kind of figuring out that I liked like the heavy way more, so I kind of stuck to that a lot. I didn't really veer, like you were talking about dual wield and stuff. I barely ever dual wielded. I was mainly just a heavy axe and maybe a shield.
That's the funny thing is I was constantly dual wield bearded axes for the whole game up, and I did that for the most of the game.
And my other problem with it was with I'm pretty sure it was different from the last two. Whenever the bows kind of got left behind in this one a little bit. I'm pretty sure in the last two, when you wanted to change the type of bow, I'm pretty sure you could use the directional pad to change the bow, or you could favorite it or something. But in this one, you actually have to go back into the inventory menu and choose the new bow, and it really slowed things up and kind of stopped me from using the bows in this one. To be honest, I kind of didn't find very many bows to use anyway. So I didn't feel implored to use them at all, even though they're really fun to use.
Same actually. I don't think I found a single predator bow. You know, the bows that you can fire and you can direct the arrow yourself.
I
don't think
I found one probably about 45 hours in.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever found one actually. Now that you said that,
Funny thing is, coming from something you said, Michael, I found myself that now going around and finding new armor, but once I found the set. I think I found the Magister's armor first, the full set.
That's the one I stuck with. Yeah, I stuck with that. The armor felt a bit different, but the weapons, I know you could upgrade them and stuff, but I don't know. I felt like I could keep the armor more than I could keep the weapons. Because I was blocking and stuff, so I wasn't taking much damage regardless. But with the weapons, I wasn't doing much damage until I changed or upgraded, and it was easier to change.
I think what they said was their idea behind the whole weapon and armor system was to have less sets and less weapons, but to focus more on upgrading them continuously. So you would find a weapon you would like and you would keep it and continue to upgrade that. But I
think that worked for the axes and swords and stuff, but not for the bows. The bows fell apart because of that.
Even the powers that you can get, or the abilities you can get for the bows, not even really stuck with me, to be honest.
I did end up using them when I was hunting the Order of the Ancients at the end. I did end up using them a lot because they were quite helpful in slowing them down from attacking you. So the one where you can shoot arrows really fast, really helpful for keeping them. Really helpful for keeping them at bay.
One thing I really did like with yeah, I suppose you can put it into combat and gameplay, but I really like the variety of enemies that they had this time. I feel like in the last few games, there was like you had your regular guys, you had your arrows, and you had maybe or bows, and you had like the big guys. But this one, I felt there was a much bigger variety of different enemies. Like when you come up against the pigs, I remember first coming up against them, and they had the can't remember the name, but the ones who throw fire bombs. There's one that could set out the line of fire. I was like, it completely mixed up how I played the game.
As well.
Yeah, the flaming sword, it completely mixed up. I had to change up how I was playing because I couldn't just run at those guys. So I really appreciate that. Even when you're fighting the regular English, like you had the big giant tank guys who would just pick you up and just fuck you across the room. Which actually, one of those guys threw me through a wall, as in glitched, as in I fell through the graphics. He picked me up and just threw me out of the wall. I threw it. I glitched for a bit and then fell. It's like, cool.
Do you know what I actually loved about those big guys is, do you know when they'll start off with this massive battle axe and then chuck it at you and then pull out like two hammers?
Yes.
I loved little touches like that.
Yeah, there was little things like that. I remember the first time I seen it, where some guy was running at me and he had a sword, and then as he was running, he stopped and picked up a spear. So he then changed basically his class of fighting, and I was like, okay, now I have to like come at you a different way, and I really like that.
I think the one thing that didn't bode well for the fighting is the skills, because it doesn't matter what skills you unlock or which tree you go for. By the end of the game, you have the whole thing filled, and every single tree class has melee, ranged, and resistance anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference, which I kind of felt it's a little disappointing, because I wanted to specialize in a certain playstyle first. Like by the end of the game, I have the whole thing finished.
And I found that once I got the ability where you could just throw a whole lot of swords at like a whole lot of enemies. I just stuck with that and never used anything else. This is the best way of cleaning up a room. I was like, there's four guys, alright, just chuck spears at them. And
then just stomping on them.
And stomping them, because you upgraded the knocker down to stomp. One thing
throwing swords and stomp is just an easy way to kill things.
It was easy, which will, like, later on when we get into it, is kind of a thing that I kind of started to not like towards the end of it, because I was bored of throw the sword or throw the axes, stomp, that done. Go into another room, throw spears. So you can say that was my own fault for like relying on that too much, but
it makes you rely on it.
That's the thing.
I don't think the abilities were varied enough, because once you have like one or two, you specifically just use those.
So I don't think I really liked was I did like how you upgraded your skills and you found new armor in this one. So instead of just leveling up and you got to pick what your upgrade would be, say to your throwing axe, you had to go out into the world and find the books of knowledge. So it actually gave me a reason. It gave me a reason to go out to the castles and the raided camps, just to go out and say, I wonder what this upgrade is going to be, or there's going to be armor in there. I need to see what this armor piece this is going to be.
The incentive to explore is really good.
I think they did a great job with that.
I think, because even just tying in with that whole thing is they're like essentially that whole wanting to explore the game is done really well by the armor, book of knowledge, and the side quests, because I found myself literally trying to go to side quests on the way to things, just because the interactions, they might just be finding a woman with a burning house and you have to go rescue a fox, or it could be a fellow with the axe in his head, like little things like that. I really enjoyed. I found myself
the smelly man.
Like I found myself enjoying that kind of stuff and being really sucked into the world more than playing a lot of the game itself, kind of thing. They did a really good job to actually really get you kind of sucked into it.
I did like them for the first, I'd say 20-30 hours, and then I stopped doing them because I was like, okay, they're good, but I'm not getting anything out of it, only XP. And I was like, I don't need to do them for XP, because I don't know if you guys are any different, but every single time I did a mission, I was leveling up. everything the time. So I was like, there's no
Yeah.
incentive to go do those side missions apart from the great hilarious interactions.
Curiosity. Absolute curiosity.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think now. Should we move on to story, or does anyone have anything else to say about gameplay or visuals?
No.
All right.
No, I think that's
Let's move on to the story of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, guys, what do you think?
Buckle the fuck up. Buckle up. This shit is batshit fucking crazy.
This is the rest of the podcast now.
Right. I'm gonna say one thing in terms of the game having a great story, and I loved going around to the different towns, meeting the different people, and doing their missions. It was really good fun, and I will go further onto a point in a bit, but I'll let you guys talk first in terms of that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed that. So you guys just give me
agreed. Yeah,
bits.
no, I'm the same. All the stories are really good. I love like going to the different areas and having to do 3 or 4 things to claim that area. It was really fun. Like lots of different stories.
Yeah, I like that. This game doesn't. I would say for the most part, this game doesn't really have like an overarching story. It's a collection of small stories. And I think I think for me personally, it worked on one level and didn't work on another. Because I'm saying to you guys, I really liked the little stories. With say my favorite Cheobert, who is the
yes, I love Cheobert.
He was fantastic, and then he gets spoilers. We're going to spoil.
Is that the little nerdy guy who can't fight?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay,
and he does go up again. He fights his rival in his mission, and they both of them fall off a cliff into the water on the coast, and then both of them survive. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
How did that happen?
And it's, but stuff like that, because I was really invested in his character up to that point, and I was like, no way is he dead. No way, they're going to bring him back in some heroic way, and they did. But even though I knew it, I was just like, oh yes, go Cheobert.
Yeah. And then poor Cheobert gets killed by Ivor the Boneless, and God, I was pissed. I was like,
so before we go into story, there's one point I want to bring up, and you reminded me just by bringing up Ivor. And I really, really wish the game had have implored this a bit more, because there's 2 specific points in the game that I have to credit them for their cinematography. Was one when Ivar is killed, and it depends, I suppose, which way you deal with the situation, but he was sent out on the raft and shot and burnt. That, like, where, do you know where he's like, it's upside down and it rotates onto the river and it goes up? That's absolutely masterpiece. And I think it's also in Cheobert's arc as well, beforehand, when you're storming the castle on the boats and there's hails of fire arrows coming down on you in the night.
Yes, I think you're right.
I really wish those 2 pieces stuck out to me so much in the game, and I don't think there's many other pieces throughout that game that implore that same style of cinematography.
I don't think so. They're the only 2 moments.
Yeah, and I'm raging. Yeah, I'm raging because they were so gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, I'm curious if
the game itself kind of just explore and had the kind of cinematography.
It does. So like little parts like that. Another part is, do you know when you first go into Asgard and like, essentially the raven kind of circles around and it draws into Odin, and then when he jumps off the tower, again, like little parts like that in terms of their cinematography styling is absolutely phenomenal.
Asgard,
tell me this
as well.
Tell me this: was I meant to know he was Odin?
Yes,
because he doesn't go by Odin.
He doesn't go by Odin.
Navi,
and also
Navi is another name for Odin.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the same. For the first while, I was like, why is Eivor this person, and then why are they calling her him?
So what did you do with regards what gender you were? Did you let the game choose, or
I
did you actually pick one?
Eivor anyway.
You picked male for the whole game?
Yeah, so I was male Eivor for the whole game.
And yourself?
I chose female Eivor.
Okay, so that's funny, because then we have all perspectives. I let the game choose.
Okay,
that's cool.
When you let the game choose, it puts you as female when you're in the regular world, and puts you as male when you're in Valhalla.
Oh.
Okay.
And that's canon. That's essentially the way they wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's the canon.
canon
That's the
way.
canon.
Interesting, yeah. I chose female Eivor because in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the previous game, Cassandra I felt was the much stronger character. Like her, even the voice actress was much stronger. So I was thinking, cool, it's going to be the same. And it took me a while to get on board the female actress for Eivor. I thought she sounded very bored and very stiff. And then as I went through the game, she kind of like loosened up a bit. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That's
really liked her.
Yeah.
Really liked her.
yeah.
Really
And then
good.
I was like, you're spot on. Like again, we'll get onto it, but bits towards the end with Odin, I thought were fantastic. But yeah, so I think it's a collection. There was a few side character stories which I didn't really care for, like the London guys. I'm sorry, London guys. I didn't really care much.
Yeah,
for the story, to be honest.
I loved London itself, but the story I think was a little lacking.
Yeah. There's a now
in comparison to
most
some of
them
the
I
other
liked.
ones.
Or I would say one that I thought I would love, but I was like, I've checked out. I don't really care about this particular story. It was I can't even remember which territory he was from, but he was the guy who you had to kidnap his wife because he and his wife didn't want to be together anymore.
Yes,
That was funny. Because then I was like, oh, I don't really
it was
care.
funny. Yeah,
But it was funny. Yeah, I was like, cool.
And he was bringing out hunting
Lincolnshire.
and everything. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was
man?
like, man, just leave her. Why do I have to go on this mad plot to be able to get you out
I
of
think
this?
the highlight area for me, and it was one of the
Halloween.
places Michael told me about it, and I sped through just to get to the specific part. Was, correct me if I'm saying this wrong because I'm terrible with British names. Gloucestershire.
Ah, yes, Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
But you go there and
Worcestershire.
it's filled with Britons, which are basically Welsh. And what I can only assume, because the accents there are, I don't know.
Oh.
So they're Welsh. They have Cornwall accents. They have
I
Irish
first of all,
accents.
when you hear the Smith, when he hears his girlfriend speak for the first time,
Yeah.
I thought she was,
Which is
first of all,
hilarious.
I thought she was just speaking gibberish. Then I moved on to thinking, oh, is she actually speaking some form of Gaelic?
That's what I thought.
And then I went on to say, oh wait, she's speaking English in
She's-
some form as well.
She's Welsh.
I'm still not fully sure what she was doing, and like I understood half the stuff she was saying, but
Yeah, I was
didn't
the same. I
understand
couldn't
the other
understand it.
half.
I was like, is this deliberate? Is this it's like,
Oh,
is
yeah.
this Boomhauer from King of the Hill? I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to understand you.
It's like me when
I
I
love that
listen
that's
when I
continuous,
listen to my partner's German, when I listen to her speak to her parents, I just pick up the odd word that I understand
Yeah.
and kind of piece together the conversation from there. Do you know, like
the
when they
best
say "verst" or something, I know they're talking about sausage. Figure that out.
The you know, the funniest thing about the whole situation is throughout the game, whenever she talks to you, it's still just carried on. Like, did you marry them?
I haven't done
Did
that
you get to
yet.
that part? Right, so there's a part where he asks you to marry.
Yeah, he's given me the quest. I just haven't done it
Back at the
yet.
village, yeah.
It's so good because he gives his wedding speech, and then she turns around and gives her wedding speech, and everyone in the crowd is just like. I love that they just continue that throughout the whole game. Is nobody knows what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What was
And
the
even
name?
Eivor was just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. What
I'm
was the name
glad.
of the blacksmith again?
Gunnar.
Oh,
Gunnar.
that's it,
Gunnar.
yeah.
Gunnar. Or
Gunnar.
Yeah, Gunnar. Gunnar. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite side characters because at the very start of the game, you meet him when you're still in Norway, and he says he talks to Eivor. He's like, "I'm heartbroken. She was his woman had left him, and he said she was the best thing that's ever happened to me." And Eivor was like, "How long are you together?" 5 weeks. It was a great 5 weeks. I was like, "Gunnar, I like you."
You're a good man.
Yeah,
Good man.
good man. I know we're talking about story, but there is this one side character that I could not wait to kill. The minute
Oh, Dag.
Dag
You don't even need to say it. I wanted to murder him so bad.
Yeah. The minute he started talking, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to kill him. Let me kill him now. And then it just kept going and going and going. And I was like, oh, cool, I got to kill him now.
No.
and then
You don't like Dag. You don't like Dag.
I don't like Dag.
You don't like Dag.
Not Dag.
You don't like Dag. Don't like Dag.
But I gave him his axe as he died, though, so he gets into Valhalla.
Yeah.
Even though I really didn't want to, but everyone was watching.
Yeah, everyone's watching, so I was like, I had to.
Fine, I will. Now, Ivor the bonus.
No, Ivor did not get his axe.
I don't think I did with either of them. Fuck him.
You didn't give did you give Dag the axe,
no. Merciless.
No, I don't think so.
Jesus.
I only did it because everyone was around me. If I was on my own now, he wasn't coming. He wasn't going to Valhalla.
No.
Motherfucker called me out
because of that.
Yeah, but
Gloucestershire was the best one, and it's probably because I know it's like we circled away from it. Coming back real quick, okay?
I'm still laughing at you. Like you're thinking about pronouncing it as you're pronouncing it, and Gloucestershire.
I have no Gloucestershire. I know I'm going to have Sean just being like fucking watching this later on and being like, what the hell is he saying? That place is brilliant, and I think it's one of those things that every Irish person that goes there is obviously going to have that attachment because it's the Samhain festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely spent most of my time there in photo mode when you get the skull and the hood cloak. I was going around taking like really creepy photos with the turnips.
Yeah,
brilliant.
You kept messaging me. You kept sending me pictures. You were like, this is amazing.
I was just sending like screenshots that I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I don't do photo mode in games. I don't enjoy it. I think it's cool to click in for like 5 minutes and go, oh, that's grand, and then continue playing my game. That is the only game I've ever gone into a photo mode and start taking actual photos around the place.
Yeah.
So I did the same there like 2 or 3 times, but I kept getting a glitch at that point that you just reminded me of, that whenever I went into photo mode and came out, the mask was removed.
The mask would remove, yeah.
It was really weird.
But if you pull down your hood and pull it back up, it goes back there.
Yeah, I thought it was a glitch that it was staying there. I didn't think it was supposed to stay there. So I was like, great, game's glitched. I hope this mask does not stay on me for the entirety of the rest of the game.
No. Do you want if you go back to there, that region,
it puts it back, doesn't it?
It goes back on, which is cool. Like.
And that arc was pretty dark as well. Like you kill a girl's mother in front of her, and then this guy climbs inside the Wicker Man.
That one was wild.
Yeah,
I didn't kill her.
You didn't kill her?
You didn't kill her?
No.
There's a choice?
No.
Michael, you did? Choice.
I killed the shit out of her, and then her daughter walked in.
Yeah. So you can kill her, or you can spare her life, and the daughter walks in, and they just leave. They just go off.
Dead.
Yeah, but then the fella climbs in the Wicker Man and burns and screams, and
dark.
I was just like,
I think I stopped him too.
You stopped him too?
No,
can you stop him?
I
can, right?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, let me do it for my people." I'm like, all right, I'm gonna kill you anyways, but just go. You want to go commit suicide essentially inside the Wicker Man? Go for it. I'm like, that's dark. And I always does it in movies and TV shows and everything where someone deliberately is like, no, I will burn, and they're like, I'm fine, and then they start burning, like, oh no, I'm not fine, and they just start screaming. I'm like, oh, this is.
Yeah.
Take my headphones off for a second, like that.
You know,
call back to the last mission of Hitman 2. One of the killings you can do is burning someone in a sculpture
inside a wicker sculpture. Well, kind of
when they're meant to come out alive.
Yeah. Just lock that latch on that Washington, I think her name was. Yeah.
Right. So on to the story.
From now.
Onto the story. Okay. So, my main concern with this, not concern, my main issue I had with the story is that there wasn't a true line through all the episodes, I'm going to call them, of the different. Yeah. There wasn't a true line that started, all right, this is Eivor's journey, and this is where Eivor's journey is going to end. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in Odyssey and Origins, I think the main characters had a very clear goal. Eivor, and it's done deliberately, I think, where there is no end goal. Like, Eivor and Sigurd don't really go to England with a plan. They want a new home. That's it. But you know, I think I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. My problem with the story is that, and I completely agree, they leave Norway to start a new home, and that's Eivor's big journey. He just wants to earn people's friendships and bonds so he can essentially take over better and easier. But they have the Sigurd storyline happening there, where Sigurd starts to continuously go further into the assassin side, where he's like, oh, I'm a god and I want to unlock more. And he goes into this like descent of madness. And there's the mission where you essentially have to get your bonds to free Sigurd. And you finally bring him home, and he kind of goes further into madness and tries to go off on his own accord, etc., etc. And you spend the rest of the time building your bonds. That's grand. And then the end is him bringing you off up the mountain back to Norway, because that's like he's seen visions and stuff. And my problem with the story is that when he, like, up to the point where he was captured, it was really well developed. I think that was a good pacing for that story. And as soon as you got him back, he literally just wandered around the longhouse doing absolutely nothing. And then all of a sudden he goes, let's go back to Norway and I have something to show you. And I thought, when I was coming to that, I thought because he had his descent of madness, I thought we were going to have to kill him.
I did too.
Fully sure,
So you get to the underground assassin place in Norway. I don't know what it's called.
Tree of Life.
The Isu is the Tree of Life. The Idrisil.
Idrisil.
It's called the Idrisil machine, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. So you get to that, and Sigurd has spent and gone through torture to get you to this point. You go into the machine and you're given your foe Valhalla.
This is Valhalla.
And just because Eivor turns around and he's like, this isn't right, I want to leave. He turns around to Sigurd, we need to leave. Sigurd just goes, yeah, let's do it. Let's just leave. Despite the fact he has spent the whole game going on about he's a god and he needs to get to this part and this is his vision and this is his purpose. And it's just like, no, it's grand. Eivor said we need to leave, so I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And then you just get out and he's just like, yeah, I don't hate you, it's fine. Let's just go back home.
Let's go back home.
And then...
Before that, though, surprise, Basum's back.
Okay. Jesus. There is in no way, shape, or form throughout that whole game does it lead you to believe that Basum is deranged in any way, going to turn on you in any way, that he doesn't have faith in Sigurd in any way, shape, or form.
I disagree.
And then all of a sudden...
I think he was. You could tell there was something shady with him, with the way he was leading Sigurd the whole way through.
There was a couple of times, but even at the end, he turns around and he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have been focusing on Sigurd. It was actually you." And I just found it was like he just, and even at the end in the boss battle where he's like ranting and raving about kids, and I know that ties in and it will tie into the next thing, but it just seems so out of place and ill-paced. I think there should have been just a few bits here and there, a few drabs here and there that should have placed Basum at that point. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have tied up things a lot better than what it did. I just felt it was very disjointed, and it wasn't one of those things of bam, surprise. Oh, I didn't see that coming. That's really exciting. They did that well. It was bam, surprise. I did not see that coming. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Basum, that was my problem with it.
There was one or two. I did get the idea, like what Michael said there, that something was up with Basum. And then there's a moment where Fulke brings Sigurd in to read the tablet, and Sigurd's like reading it, and Basum has this look. He looks at Eivor instead, and he has this big smile on his face. I'm like, okay. And I just took that as like, oh, Basum knows that Eivor is really the person who can read this. Because I didn't. Up until the end of the game, anyway, I didn't believe for a minute that Sigurd could actually read any of the things.
Neither did I, actually. Yeah, up until that point in the game, I just thought he was gone mental.
And then there's something else we can say, how it's pretty clear how we can, but we'll come to that soon, I'm sure. But yeah, this is when Sigurd just appears, or not Sigurd, Basum appears out of nowhere, and ranting raving about how, you know, his kid died, and I'm like, wait, did I do that? I'm not sure if I did that. Did I kill a kid? I don't remember killing any kids in the game. You know, and then
I know it's all tied in with the Asgard subplot, and it's tied in with the collection of the anomalies, and you get the secret ending. But it still just seems very disjointed.
Yeah, well,
it's batshit.
It is batshit.
Yeah, it is batshit crazy. It is absolutely.
Yeah, I think what happened in the game, that really there was 4 storylines going on separately, and then at the very end they converged them into the one story. Literally at the 11th hour.
Yeah,
I think if they had have planned that, or not planned, but shown that they were intersecting at points, wouldn't be too bad. But instead to have 4 storylines and then converge into one at the very end was a bit disconcerting and very, very odd. Because then that leads me into the stuff with Layla, who, I'm not going to lie, I haven't cared about the future storyline in Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 3, where it ended. And then they just decided to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So then
Layla, I just found it, and I've only played like half of Origins. I just find Layla a very underdeveloped character. Like there's nothing to her. Even in Valhalla, I just found that she's there. She's just there to be in the Animus. Yeah. That's it, kind of thing.
Yeah. But like so Layla, and they build this up that this is Layla's final game, and then okay, I know we're getting into the future storyline. There's still tons more to say in Eivor's timeline here, but I just gotta say a few things. I was shocked by how bad the writing was when Layla got to the Idrissel machine. There's Basim. Yeah. There's Basim. Cool. Okay, she gets sucked into the machine. She drops the staff. That means she can't survive there. Fair enough. But when she's in the Idrissel machine, Basim appears almost straight away. She knows who Basim is.
Yeah.
Basim does not, and this is my opinion now, but Basim does not in any way try to hide the fact that he is not a good person. He is very much there. It's like, I am going to fuck you over. And she just lets him. I'm like, you literally just seen what he did to Eivor.
Did they? Did they?
See, this is it. It's something that's never been clear in Assassin's Creed. Do the people know?
I don't think they could have, because they just fucking walked off and left them with the Animus.
That's true. Yeah.
No, yeah. So Rebecca and Sean wouldn't know what happens within it, except what Layla tells them.
Yeah.
Layla experiences everything. Layla would know
Eivor
that Basim is a shithead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and she just
Sean and Rebecca have no context.
Sean and Rebecca wouldn't have any idea. But still, when Layla gets into the Idrissel machine and starts talking to Basim, she's not like, I'm not going to trust you. I see what you did here a few thousand years ago. No, I'm not going to trust you. But yes, she does.
And she's like, I'm going to trust you. And do you know what really annoys me as well? The fact that, and I'm going to guess, and this is probably going to be right. Do you know the entity you talk to in the Idrissel machine? That's Desmond. That's Desmond.
That is,
so you think of that too?
It's Nolan North's
voice.
That is
without a doubt.
It's absolutely
Desmond. That is without a doubt Desmond.
Yeah. And I do like how Desmond and Layla now, which I'm like, oh, you're supposed to feel something for Layla because she's now dead. I'm like, no, I don't feel nothing for Layla.
But that's the thing that annoys me. He turns around and says, you're going to die because of the radiation levels. Mm-hmm. Why did Basim fall out of the machine, land on this thing, and then all of a sudden...
So many questions.
I know the staff. That's the
because
thing.
the staff brought him back to life, and the staff protects from the radiation.
The staff protected him,
But
what caused him to fall out in the first place? He's been there for 1,000 years now. That Layla shows up. He has a conversation, and he falls down. Again, maybe I'm just nitpicking. Maybe I'm.
Why didn't Entity Desmond say to Layla, "Oh no, it's fine because as soon as you fall out, you'll fall onto the staff and you'll resurrect again."
Grand. I do like how the two of them now have basically become Doctor Strange from the Marvel movies of let's look at every single billions of the timeline to try to find that single one that works. But yeah, did you?
Yeah,
I did, and then this kind of rubbed me the wrong way as well.
Right.
That you get you don't play as Basim in the modern day.
Oh, that rubbed me. Yeah,
this is when I got my corrupted file. So
okay. So there's a little thing. There's one thing. So Basim somehow goes to meet Rebecca and Sean. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so I got back into the animus as Basim.
Okay, yeah. So, but this guy shows up. He is a few thousand-year-old Isu. You know, he shows up rocking a hoodie and a wolf t-shirt.
A wolf t-shirt that he looks like he got it from the Dumbrody Festival.
I'm like, what is this guy doing? All right, fair enough. I thought he'd be in like a suit or something. Nah, he's just up in a
I know.
hoodie and a wolf t-shirt. Oh, but you get it all because wolves are like a link to Loki. Guess what?
Fenrir.
Yeah. Fenrir. He was Loki's son. Also, guess what? Basim is Loki.
Yeah, and they do explain that, I suppose, in the anomaly codex, because that whole thing of loading your genetics into the machine, so that next descendants can essentially unlock your thing, but he obviously uploaded himself directly.
So now we know, after watching the secret video ending thing, now that Eivor, Sigurd, and Basim, three of them are sages. Because they are Odin, Loki, and Tyr.
Right, so one thing that I completely understand that it was Tyr, but he doesn't really look like Tyr when he's within, like Basim and Odin obviously look like, Basim looks like Loki, Odin looks like Eivor. I didn't really see
Sigurd and Tyr don't look the same, but I didn't get it until after I'd finished the game and I'm gone back in now into Asgard. I'm like, they're the same voice actors. How did I not pick up on that? I never picked up on it. Yeah, but God, just the end of that game, it just ends like that. It's so quick.
Yeah,
and you're just left there thinking, what just happened? Also, sorry, I will say is when you're playing as Basim, it irked me because I'm like, here's a guy who now betrayed my main character, who I really liked, you know,
and now he's learning my sick.
And now he's clearly the villain. So Sean, Rebecca, let's trust him. Also, you make me play as him. I'm like, I want to play as this scumbag.
Yeah,
that's maybe just me nitpicking a bit, but I'm like, I don't want to play as this guy.
It's like,
but there is a scene in the modern day when you're playing as Basim. If you go over to there's a fire pit and you can sit down on a log, and Basim, I can call him now, Loki, whatever you want to call him, starts meditating, and he opens his eyes, and Eivor is sitting on the bench next to him. And then there's no dialogue. Just Eivor looks at him, smiles, nods, and then Basim's like, I'm gonna nod and smile too. And then that's the scene over. No dialogue, no nothing. I'm like, why is Eivor smiling at him? What is going on? This is frustrating.
Does Eivor know something?
Fuck that ending.
Right. Okay, so technically there is there's an ending which I would count, you know, that whole situation being the ending, and then there is like the epilogue, which is
there's three endings. There's three endings. There's the ending to the Order of the Ancients. There's the ending to the main storyline. Yeah. And then there's I'm tripping up the future ending then.
The future. Yeah. Four technically then, because there's going to be an ending to the Asgard and
there's four endings.
Four endings. But the worst thing about it is that the four endings don't tie in. Well, the modern day and the Eivor one do, but like the other ones just feel so like the ancient, the ending, the ancient order and the ending of Valhalla, they just feel so disjointed from each other. Like they don't.
Right, so let's talk about that for a second, because this is my biggest qualm with.
Oh, you didn't like the end of the Order of the Ancients?
Didn't like it. Because you spend the entire game going around to different locations, building up bonds so they can come help you fight against Albert, which slowly descends to you wanting to fight Albert. Great, that's grand. When you finally go to fight Albert, I'd say maybe 3/4 of the people that you bond with are there,
Probably.
The others aren't. Like Halfdan isn't there. I would thought he would have been there.
Halfdan. Oh, yeah.
And I made bonds with all of them.
He's looking for his other half.
Maybe it's the other Dan.
Why can't we have full Dan?
So you come back as complete Dan.
He's looking for eel. It's half eel and half Dan.
Eel.
Oh, gee.
But you get to that ending. You don't really interact with the people that are there, bar like you can go over and speak to them, but they like it's a few words of dialogue. That's grand. You go and start this battle to fight Albert, who's not there. Surprise, surprise! Who leads you into this trap to kill you? Essentially, you fight his Goodwin. You fight him. Shitty battle. It's terrible.
I had a bit of a Thanos Endgame moment of I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was that.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember him. But see, you eventually get to it. Hi, Andrea. You eventually get to this battle. You beat Goodwin, come out, and what's her Sona?
Sona, yeah.
She dies, which I actually felt shitty about because she was a great character.
One of my favorite characters, yeah.
A couple of other characters die kind of off screen and they didn't really build up to anything. Mm-hmm. But the whole battle like takes about 30 seconds. There's no big battle. Yeah. And then when you finally, like all that's done and you've been led into a trap and Albert successfully led you into this trap and he's smart and he wins, you find out Albert is the leader of the order. That's grand. So you go to find him and you find him just working in a farm tending to cakes. And then he's just like, oh, well, I didn't really want to do it in the first place. You've won. And Eivor at the end is just like, even talking to Goodwin, he's just like, no, I don't want this fight anymore. I don't want to fight Albert. It's grand. I'm just leaving it be. It really perplexed me why they would build up this whole game to build bonds with different settlements to fight a battle against a fellow who quite obviously trapped you and won. You barely escaped with your life and your mates. And then when you do find him, he's like, man, I just want to bake cakes. And Eivor's just like, okay, see ya.
Yeah, so he's going to start the Templars. That's what he's doing. Because he said, I didn't like the Order of the Ancients. I didn't want to do it. I want to do it, but with more Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to start the Templars. Okay, so we're this is impossible to talk about this whole story. Yep. I think you need to sum it up in that we all liked playing the game and the story throughout the game, and then once you get to the end, it turns batshit, you get confused, you put down your controller and you go,
what?
Huh.
I fully agree with you there, Michael.
I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's one of those things, and there's a problem I think in the gaming community for the last few years, and some games might be more successful than others, but I think it's just a lot of developers and game companies don't know how to end their games and they kind of stumble. And I think some games and some will end within DLC, and that's fine. It's cool. It gives you a little extra to play. I like some games that do that. Maybe, Valhalla will do that, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be the next game. It will obviously continue, and I'm fine with it continuing as a story. I just think that specific game fell flat. They did not know how to end it.
Yeah.
But like everything up to that was amazing. I loved going around to the different towns. I loved fighting for different settlements and stuff like that. And then the end of it was just like, Eivor's just, that's grand. You've only caused me lots of pain and caused me to lose like some of my closest mates. You've only tricked me and won the whole thing, but now that you're giving up, I'm just going to be like, that's fine. It's grand.
Yeah, very good up until the ending.
Yeah, I think because the same thing happened in gaming last year with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Perfectly fine up until the ending, and then it goes a bit out there. But we're not going to talk about that here because that is going to be an episode.
Not yet. This is going to be another episode. This
is going to be its own
next
episode.
Week. Which, funny enough, Brian, what anniversary is it today? On the day we are recording
it's
this.
Almost like I planned that. No, yes, we're recording this on the 31st of January, which is the 24th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. So happy birthday,
Yes, it
Final
is.
Fantasy VII.
Happy birthday, Final Fantasy VII.
Happy birthday.
They lie to you time and time again. They keep telling you it's a Final Fantasy. There's fucking 15 of them now.
That is true.
It's
Like,
top up.
when is it going to end?
I swear, lads, this will be my Final Fantasy.
This is weird. Yeah, I will say one thing just about it. I kind of would prefer. So Assassin's Creed now and Ubisoft, they've experimented now with a very open world, and they've even said that The Witcher 3 is a massive influence for this trilogy of games they've done.
I can completely pick that up.
Yeah, I would kind of like them maybe to scale it down again, go a little bit smaller, go back to maybe a 25-hour. It doesn't have to be linear, but like the old games, like Assassin's Creed 2. Look at that game. That's considered one of the greatest games in the last, 20. Well, it's longer than 20 years now.
I think you're going to get what you want in the DLC.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because I think if they have just a much smaller condensed game with a smaller condensed story, I think it could benefit them again in the long run. But again, these games are selling like gangbusters, Obviously, it's working.
I think it's one of these things of when you're growing, when you are the age we are now, we don't have time to sink into 80 hours, 90 hours for a game. I love games like that, don't get me wrong. Some of my favorite games are 100 hours. But I swear, I wouldn't have gotten through Valhalla as quick as I did if we hadn't been in lockdown.
That's true. Yeah.
People who have regular jobs, people who are regularly outside of this situation, like they would end up either not choosing not to play a game that long, or would end up taking ages to clear it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that's exactly what I like. I don't like playing 100-hour games anymore now. Just give me, a game like The Order 1886, 6 hours, done.
Yeah.
Give me a good story in 6 hours, done.
Yeah.
I suppose, do we have anything else to say on Assassin's Creed? Put it this way, we could go for hours on this game.
Yeah, we could, of course.
We don't want to bore you people.
If you've made it to this part in the story, fair play to you.
Fair play. Hold on. For any audio listeners, I give you a clap there. Hold on.
Thank you.
I guess we'll start wrapping it up now. I will say, are you guys maybe looking at getting the expansions?
Yes.
Oncoming?
I will definitely. No, hands down, definitely getting that. I'm really looking forward to. I mean, the France one does look really good, but of course, us being from Ireland, the Irish one really appeals to me. Like, I am hands down going to dart straight down to Wexford if it's in there, and I hope hopefully it is. It's really looking forward to that.
Should be there, yeah. One thing I would say, we didn't touch on it, but I would say there, I did love the inclusion of America, or Vinland, as they call it in this one. Really did enjoy that. And I like how the tribe that you met is the same tribe it's Connor's tribe from Assassin's Creed 3. And they had the Apple of Eden, which is, and the directors of the game have spoken about that is the same Apple of Eden from the third game, and the temple that Eivor brings that to when it speaks there, that is the same temple from Assassin's Creed 3. I'm like, that is, for what we're giving shit on their story, that's a really cool.
But I love that Eivor standing outside that temple was just like, that's not for me to do. And I was just like, that's a nice little touch. He's just like, that's nothing got to do with me. I don't need to be doing this. I thought there was a nice touch.
So the first DLC, they haven't said when it's coming out yet, have they? Is that the
I know the Beowulf one is I think the Irish one's coming out first.
Is the Irish one first?
I think
that was my understanding.
Yeah, so we're going to Paris, which I've never bought DLC for Assassin's Creed game before. I think I'll definitely get these ones though, because you go and see Paris and Ireland, obviously.
They already have Paris from one of the earlier ones, Unity.
Oh, Unity, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
I got that free from when the terrible fire in Notre Dame happened, and they gave the game away for free.
That's right, yeah.
For the weekend. It was really nice. So I don't have anything else. Well, sorry, I do have a lot of other things to say, but let's not bore everybody.
Yeah.
So, anything else to say? Any closing thoughts? Would you recommend the game to anybody who's listening now?
Yeah. Oh, hands down, yeah. If you, I think you'd sorely mistake not kind of trying the game, because I haven't played Assassin's Creed since 3. I fell out with it. I didn't really like it anymore. I picked up Origins before Valhalla came out just to test what it was like. I did enjoy it, but I enjoyed traveling around the place more than anything. But Valhalla is just... I felt like I was playing The Witcher again, and The Witcher is hands down one of my top games ever made. Yeah. And I just kind of got that same sense of feeling, and I would think you would really be shooting yourself in the foot if you didn't pick up a copy of Valhalla.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't have 90 hours, play for a few hours, you'll get it pretty good for you. Yeah. It's a great game. So yeah, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. We've been going for quite a good time. So everybody,
let's wrap this up.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back.
Thank you, Michael.
Possibly next week. Do we have a schedule? We'll make it up.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's fine. But anyway, thank you so much. Don't forget, subscribe to Michael's YouTube channel.
Bulletsponge, like the fart you can't trust.
Wow. I don't want to say anything else. That's the perfect way to end it now.
That'll be in the description.
That will be in the description. So, anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.